What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at this cube tank. Now this cube tank we set up quite a long time ago, probably over like a year and a half, 2 years. But there is some maintenance that needs to be done, so I figure I'd kind of walk you through it. It's not a whole lot that needs to be done, but there is some algae, so we're going to clear some of that up. And I'm going to show you kind of the process that I take to do so, and also kind of maintain some of the plants. We have to trim a couple of them up, maybe replant a couple. We may add another one in too. I have to see what I want to do, but I have to get in here and really see. So without anything else, let's jump into it. I'll bring you on closer and you can check out what I'm doing. Alright, so first things first, there is quite a bit of water in here, so before I can stick my hand in, I have to remove some of that. Otherwise it'll just overflow. Okay. Next, you can see a bunch of hair algae over here. It's just like this weird green mucky stuff. So what I'm actually going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to unplug the filter. That's very important when you're doing stuff in a tank, is you want to unplug the filter so that way it doesn't get everywhere. Okay, so the filter's unplugged, so basically, you know, when I'm removing stuff now, it won't get everywhere, you know, and it'll kind of just be easy to remove stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this moss first. The best tool for removing the moss and the algae and the stuff that we don't want that's fine thread is just a toothbrush here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to twirl it around as if I was eating pasta. And now there is a plant here that's covered in this stuff, so I'm going to try and, I want to save this plant, so I'm going to put it, oh, I just broke it. Alright, I'm going to put it over there for right now. Try to remove the rest of this stuff here. And you can see here, the more you just twirl this around, the more it gets covered. There's a lot in here, so, okay. So that's that little bit. Let's see, there's still some more here. And I also want to take some of this moss too, because initially the moss wasn't part of my idea for this tank. It just kind of wound up in here. So. And also there is some of this gibba that's grown back here. This stuff is a common aquarium pest plant. It's only harmful if you really have like a shrimp that you're trying to breed, because it has the ability to eat small critters like that. Also really tiny fish, depending on what kind of fish they are. But as long as I get it out of there. It is a carnivorous plant. And you can see here, I'm just kind of twirling the toothbrush. I'm getting all this moss that is just growing everywhere. Now, moss is tricky because if it's in your aquarium, odds are you're not going to be able to get all of it out to the point where you don't have it anymore. It's just kind of like, moss is a, you know, type of an invasive like plant, if you think about it that way. It's going to grow no matter what, especially if you like, you know, it's ingrained in this wood, so in order to really get rid of it, I would have to kind of scrub. I would have to take the wood out, and I'd have to scrub it clean, and that I'm not doing, but I am just trying to get rid of all the moss that I see, because I don't need it. Now this is a hunk of bulbitis. I'm actually just going to jam that right in there. And the idea here is we're just removing the moss that's unruly, that is throwing off the way the scape should look. And obviously, like, this is something that you should do, you know, quite often, is maintain the scape. I don't. And that is, it's not a good thing by any means, but sometimes you're short on time and you don't have all the time you'd like to do these things. So doing this when you can is good. I'm also going to try and remove this, because this This is the CO2, but we're no longer using CO2. What's this connected to? Actually, maybe I can get it off. No. Okay, let's see if I can do this without breaking it. I'm actually just going to shift this to this other aquarium for right now. Oh, hope I didn't break anything. No, it looks good. Just to get it out of the way. Now, there's a lot of moss on the back of the filter over here too. This is the problem that I find with mosses. It's an ongoing issue in most of my aquariums. Like, moss is great when you have time to maintain your tank and trim it and get in there like almost every week. I really don't have that time. So what winds up happening is when it's not trimmed, it just starts to grow and grows everywhere and gets everywhere. And the longer you let it go, the worse your scape looks, because it just starts overtaking everything to the point where it was actually making some of the boost down here die out because it was getting so clogged and choked by it. So, you know, moss, as cool as it is, sometimes it's just not a good thing. It really depends on the person and the tank that you're trying to undo. I mean, I think moss is really cool in the right circumstances, but for me right now, this just sucks because it's just everywhere. It's everywhere, gets everywhere. No matter what you do, you try and remove it, and it just keeps coming back. So, while we're here, I'm also going to, I don't know if you could see this, but I'm going to scrub the filter output because it's got gunk growing on it and just doesn't look good. So I got this handy dandy brush here, pipe cleaner. It's good for cleaning these things. If this one fits in here, I might have to get a smaller one. There we go. So ideally do this in the water, so that way it doesn't get you in the face, the gunk, but you're going to see the water is going to get a bit cloudy right now. Much cleaner than it was. And then I'm going to try and do the same with the filter. Hopefully I can, or the intake. See, there's even moss growing in the filter intake, which isn't normally a good thing. Let's see. Yeah, there's a big strand of moss there. Cleaned the intake as best I can. I mean, I could really, if I wanted to, take it apart and all that, but I just wanted to clean the very beginning of it. So I'm gonna remove some moss here. But now, I think my next step after I get all this moss out is I'm gonna trim up some of these boost plants. And the reason being is because they have started to get very leggy on some of the parts, and that's mainly because that's where the moss grew and killed or suffocated a lot of the plant itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and trim that up, make it a little less leggy looking, a little bit more compact there. I just want to, there's some moss down here. I want to try and grab this because there's some algae growing right there on that. So get that out of there. Go back in with my toothbrush real quick and see if I can get anything else. So here's a couple strands of moss. Hey! Shh. Sorry about that. That was my, the next door neighbor's kid is banging on the door going, hey. And my dog is thinking it's on ours. No, honey. Stop it. Okay. A little more moss here. You can just see, like, the strands get everywhere. It's so annoying. So normally I would like gravel back this and that would help take some of this out, but that's just not what I'm doing right now. I'm just doing it manually by hand. Alright, so I mean, it looks good as far as the moss goes. The majority of it is now gone, from what I can see, at least in the front. I mean, there's some like on these rocks, but or on these pieces of wood, but there really isn't much that I could do about that. Once the moss travels throughout the wood grain, it's just nearly impossible to get rid of it completely. It's always going to be there. Let's see in the back if there's anything. Oh, there's a little algae here. Take that out. But you see, this is an important step. On my live stream the other day, people are asking about algae, and like, algae sucks, but it is a way of the tank kind of balancing itself, because usually there is a problem that you don't know about and the algae will take care of it, and once you have algae you know that you have a problem, because in a 100% balanced system, algae should be minimal. I mean, you'll still probably have some sort of algae, but it won't be as prevalent as some of it likes to be. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen an aquarium 100% algae free that isn't maintained. Like, the thing is maintenance. The more maintenance you do, the more algae you can remove, like I'm doing here, and the less you'll have to worry about growing everywhere. Let's see, what else do we, like, it's hard to tell if, yeah, this is moss. Let's remove that. Okay. So, is that moss? Or that's algae? Can't tell. A little string of algae. So yeah, so like doing your regular maintenance is like key to really help cut down on this. But if you don't do your maintenance, then you gotta deal with the problems as you do. So you can see here these I don't know if can you see that? Yeah, that stem right there. So that's a piece of boost. These are rhizomes of boost. Now they're kind of bare going all the way up here. There's some new leaves up at the top and some new leaves right here. And now I wouldn't say you want to get rid of these. You just want to trim them and move them somewhere else, because the bareness to them kind of looks straggly and doesn't look good. But you can bury this rhizome somewhere and let it regrow, and usually it'll regrow all new leaves from that rhizome. So I'm just gonna snip it here, and I'm gonna snip this one down here, and I'm just gonna replant these elsewhere to just try and establish them a little bit better somewhere else. Okay, so those two are cut. Now there's this other one here. It's somewhat bare, but it'll be alright. I'm gonna leave that one there. So these other ones, I'm just going to kind of nestle in a way that you can't really see the shoot too much, like the bare rhizome, but also be able to have it regrow a bit. Some more moss there. So now here's another thing. You see this big old chunk of boost right here growing beautifully, but it's really throwing off the rest of this scale. So I would trim this, but I think I'm just going to remove the whole boost and I'm going to replant it towards the back. So let's see. It's probably really rooted in here, yeah. It's a big chunk of boost. It's a big boy. Wow, look at this guy. That is a big chunk of boost, that's for sure. Sorry, now the water's gonna be a bit cloudy, but so we're putting that in the bank. And there's this other chunk. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so there's that. This one too, so I'm gonna push this one to the back as well. I'm gonna try and wedge it down in there so it attaches to some of these rocks and driftwood that I have in here. And then this other one I'm just gonna put towards the back. And the reason why I'm doing that is in this scape, I actually want smaller leaves up front, so that's why I have all this Anubis Nana Petite, which I'm actually going to probably order a couple more just to fill in this area over here. And this guy we're gonna move to kind of fill in this gap now that's created because of that. And that's the whole idea behind the scape, is that the Anubis and the Boosts are just growing all up along here. So I want to keep the smaller leaves up front and the bigger leaves towards the back. So that's why I'm pushing those back there here. And then a little more moss and algae here. Let's clean that up. So there is some sediment here down at the bottom. I don't know how well that's going to come in on the video, but with this turkey baster, basically what I can do is I'm going to try and gravel back some of that up. Turkey baster or a pipette is an excellent tool to have. Definitely helps with cleaning up messes. So now I'm just taking a look. I'm actually behind the camera here. I'm taking a look at the scape to see if there's any other things that I want to take care of here. There is this Bulbitis that I do want to replant. So this Bulbitis here has a little algae still on it, so I'm going to try and Alright, so place the Bulbitis, and it's looking pretty good. Now that Bulbitis is the mini type, so it grows really, really tiny. Unfortunately, I don't get it in anymore. So this is kind of the last bit of it that I have, but it takes, Bulbitis is a very slow growing plant. So there's some moss that has really attached itself to the wood right here, which I wouldn't necessarily mind it growing up along this back piece here, because I'd like it to actually grow towards the top and then kind of like just cover this piece of wood. That I don't mind, but it's really a pain that it's down here. I don't want it down here because it's just affecting the boost way too much. And the boost is beautiful. I don't want it to get ruined by any more algae. Okay, so I do have a couple pieces of boost here too that I think I'm going to trim up and relocate. I'm going to see if I can, yeah, okay, so I can dislodge that rather easily. I'm actually just going to flip this whole thing and make it go the other way. Let me get the moss though that's attached. See, and that's the other thing too, is because boost is so entangled with its rhizome that the moss gets stuck in there and then it just it just will take over inside the rhizome area, and so it then really affects the way the boost grows. Let's see. Okay. A little more moss back here. Just pull it out. So, I think I was getting off on a tangent before about algae, but one of the keys to algae removal is, in fact, manual removal. You want to try and nip it in the bud as you see it, and then also figure out why you have algae in the first place. But manual removal is key. Whenever you can, remove as much as possible. If you just let it grow, it'll take over like it's doing. So, clean the glass a little bit just because it's got some water stains. Sometimes this aquarium gets a little low, like about halfway, so hard water stains suck, but okay, so now let's take a look at what we got going on here. It's not too bad. Is that moss? This is moss. I want to try and get this. There is a little patch of moss here growing. Get that out of there. Where else? So I don't mind the moss being tight to the rocks or to the driftwood. I mean, like, it sucks because I'm going to always have to trim these like this, but it's okay that it's on there. I just don't want it growing out too much. Like that's the problem with it, is that when it grows out way too much. And okay, so what else do we got here? So overall, looking pretty good. I'm gonna use my turkey baster. There's a little moss right here I'm gonna try and suck up. Telling you, turkey baster, excellent tool. Go to the dollar store, pick yourself up like 2 of them. They make for an excellent aquascaping tool. Alright, so now, let's see, I want to try and get this boost to grow down over here like that, like so. I was thinking about filling out this background, but I kind of don't want to. I want to do this scape with these plants where it doesn't, like, I don't have overly tall plants, just because this scape is meant to be almost like a no maintenance tank. And that's why, despite the moss and the algae growing, it doesn't really need maintenance all that much, because the plants are really short, easy growing, slow growing plants. So in order for this to need trimming, like, this has been a year pretty much probably since I touched the plants. So it is very easy. Now, this boost here is just not doing it for me. I just don't like it. It's out of scale with everything over in this corner, so I'm going to nip it down here, I think is the best course. I'm just trying to get my scissors in there to find the right rhizome. Okay, I think I got enough. I'm gonna clip that. Now I'm gonna move this boost. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna just wedge it right in here and try and fill this out a little bit more. Okay. Let me fix that. That doesn't look good right in there. Let's do it like this. Okay, better. So I'm just kind of wedging the rhizomes in place where I want them to go. They'll eventually root themselves in most cases. Like, sometimes you'll have to actually like super glue these down, but I think they'll be alright the way they are. Alright. So, yeah, no, oh, nope, found some algae. Some algae down here next to this Anubis. Get some of that out. This tank doesn't have a whole lot of flow, so this algae that gets stuck to this Anubis kind of just is free to stay there, doesn't get blown around a whole lot, so okay, so that is good. Yeah, overall looking a bit better than it was. There's still a little moss here. Let me see, I'm gonna grab my tweezers. See if I could get out these strands here. There's one. A little bit more. Yeah, and it really sticks itself to these rhizomes, which suck. Alright, I want this more over here. This guy over here more. Yeah, I'm gonna have to order a couple Anubis Nano Petites for this tank. Just so that way I can fill in this back corner here. That should all have Anubis Nano. And Anubis Nano, unfortunately, it is a really slow growing plant and it is very small, so you need quite a bit of it. I'd say there's probably about, I don't know, 50 rhizomes in this tank. Alright, all in all, I'm liking it. I hope you guys are enjoying this style of video. I want to just try something a little bit laid back, relax, and I'll do my thing with the tank, which it looks good. I'm going to take a razor blade now. I'm just going to scrape the glass in front here to try and get off all the rest of those water stains. And other grossness. It's always key to have some razor blades. Helps take off all the gunk in the tank. Even on the outside, there's some stuff here, so I'm just gonna pass it across it real quick. Nice. Alright, and we're looking pretty good. So all in all, yeah, I'm liking it. You know what? There's a piece of bulbitis here. Let's move this. Let's move this guy. Kind of really want to get this bulbitis to grow right here, so let's see if I can. I'm gonna wedge it right. Oh shoot! I think I might have broke some of the leaves. Alright, well, let's see what happens. Wedge the rhizome there, let it do its thing. But overall, yeah, I'm liking it. This rhizome though. There. Can you chill there? Or like right here? I just don't like the way it looked. No, you're not cooperating with me, rhizome. Cooperate. This rhizome fell out. Come on. Come on guys, work with me here. Maybe just this little bit right in there. No. Put that down here and try this a little bit. Okay. That's good. Alright. So yeah. I think that's about it as far as... Oh wait, there's a little bit. Right down there. Alright. I'm good to go. Let's plug it back in and let's see what we got. Alright, so that is pretty much it with the maintenance on this tank. You know, things look a lot better than they did. Got rid of a lot of the algae, moved around the boost that wasn't looking good. Hope you guys enjoyed this style video. Just decided I wanted to just kind of freeball it and, you know, see what we come up with. I'm going to top this tank off now. But if you enjoyed this kind of video or have any suggestions to maybe improve it for the other tanks in the future, because I also got to do a video for this tank and the other tank on the other side of the room, let me know in the comments down below. And, you know, if you're new here, enjoyed this, and want to see more planted aquarium content, hit that subscribe button. And also, if you want to check out any of our previous videos, you can click right there. And I will see you guys next time.